Hi guys. Okay, I've got this page of stamps out of a stamp auction catalogue, and it's got all these little Queen's Head stamps on there that I'm just going to cut out, and we'll make some embellishments using the rest of the scraps from the scrap paper tray. Okay, look at this scrap paper tray. There's two more projects here. There's these bigger scraps that you would have seen I put in a bag in yesterday's video. And then there's all the little confetti. Oh my gosh, look at this. Look at that. Oh dear. Okay. Now I have been joking with quite a few of you that I was just going to toss this into the blender and make some handmade paper. But I'm not going to do that. I think that's a bit of a cop-out. Bit of the easy way out, isn't it? So we will make something with that tomorrow. Today I will use these. So I have cut these out. That took forever. And with these scraps, now when I say these are the bigger scraps, they're the bigger scraps of what's left. So they're still not very big. So, all right, let's move these little guys over. Now, all I'm going to do is make some little page tabs to go on the side of journal pages. Now, usually I would put these together like little clusters, and I would just clip a whole bunch, make a whole bunch, clipping them, and then I'd sew them at my sewing machine. But today I'm going to glue them and then I'm going to sew them. Just because they're quite, some pieces are quite thin. And I feel my well, they're not clusters. I suppose they're like clusters. My page tabs or clusters or whatever you want to call them, they're going to be quite centered, which I don't know if I want that, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to just do some little very simple page tabs. I need some bases, don't I? Okay. I need some bases. I feel there's no pieces that are big enough. So I've got... Don't ask me why this was in a CD case. I think this is ages ago. I think I was pulling apart a book or encyclopedia on the lounge at night. And, yeah, for some reason I ended up putting all these little book spine pieces in there. Anyway, I might use some of these as my little bases, just because I don't have any big enough pieces in there, I feel like. Okay, that should be enough there. I told you, every time I sit and pull books apart or cut things up, all the little scraps go into a baggie or a container or a tub or something, and then they just pile up on my desk. Okay. Now I want these a bit, I suppose, just tall and narrow. Oh no. Okay. Let's just get started. I'm going to just glue these babies down. Now, I can't believe that I've only got one little project left. Oop, there's a thread in there. I feel like there's no variety in here. That's okay. I don't need variety, do I? I just need to just glue them down. Okay. Just glue, glue, glue. This is some of that old masking tape that I have been trying to use up this whole challenge, and it just wouldn't go away. I've also got some desk scraps that have been kind of building up that I might incorporate into here and try and use them up at the same time. Oops, I've got some, this is the bits that I trimmed off that kooky paper that I made for the Woodwork Journal cards and tags. Okay, look, I didn't cut these very well, did I? Oops. Get off there. Oh, do you know what? I'm not going to stick the stamps on until after I've sewn them. Okay, this will be a no-sew one. Oops. Oh, I need a new glue stick. So I know a few people don't have sewing machines, so this is one of the projects, you know, you can still do. If you don't have a stamp catalogue as well, you could just use you know, regular cancelled postage stamps or anything really. Like I've got this bird book that I've been cutting all the little birds out of it. You know, you could put a little bird or butterfly or a stamped image or something on top. I'm just using these little queens because there were so many on one page. So see, that looks pretty cute. And if you've got a journal page, let's pretend that's our journal. Just pop it on the side, glue it down and let it hang over a little. Okay, so that's the no-sew one. Let me get a new glue stick. Okay. These glue sticks, they were just cheap school kids glue sticks from Audi, I think Audi. And I got a couple to try. They're okay. They're okay actually. They're not too bad. Now, this is probably going to bore you to death, so I will do one more and then I might just put it on forward because you really don't want to see all this, do you? So I don't need to glue them a lot because I'm going to sew them, aren't I? I've also been trying to use all of these up. These ones are white, so I find it harder to use them up. That's some nice crunchy paper. Now my last project, the project tomorrow, using these little confetti. I've already kind of started. It's a little bit kooky, but I think they turned out really cute. So it may give you a bit of a giggle. Actually, let me put one of these in, hey? Okay, so what I'll do, I'll glue a whole bunch of these. I will sew them and then I'll glue the stamp on top. So I don't want to sew over them, do I? No. No, I'm going to leave them like that. Okay, so I'm going to glue a little bit and stick you on fast forward. Okay, so I've made a bunch of them. And I've still got a few more scraps that I will make some more. Now I've got a little stamp that is horizontal, so I'll make a little horizontal one. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to sew them straight down the center with a zigzag stitch. Okay, so I've got my machine on a fairly large zigzag stitch. My tension is just over halfway when I sew layered papers, but you know, if you sew, every machine is different, so you have to figure out the tension that's best for your machine. Now, usually I sew everything with a dark brown thread, but I have a very pale pink in my machine today because I've been sewing ruffles. I did want to use white, but I don't have any white thread. Who doesn't have white thread? Me. Now, I do a backstitch at the start and end of each little embellishment. I do that when I sew everything. Okay, before I get started, you may see over there, yes, some of you have seen the glue stick graveyard before. That's where glue sticks go to die. They're glue sticks that have a tiny little piece left in the cap that I scoop out when I do a big, a collage on a cereal box to make tags or something. So I'll wait till I've got a whole bunch of them. Now when I sew these, I don't cut my thread between little embellishments. I just sew them on one big long chain. Sorry, you're probably jumping around like anything. Okay, I've sewn all of those. And I'll just snip them apart. Okay, they're all chopped up. Oh my gosh, I made so many and I've got some more over there. I used that whole little baggie of scraps plus some scraps on my desk and quite a few scraps out of that CD holder. Okay, now I'm just going to glue a little stamp. Well, the stamps from that stamp catalogue on top. And there you've got a super simple little embellishment using tiny scraps. They'd be a lot quicker to make if you use bigger scraps. Oh my gosh, my glue is blocked. They'd be a lot quicker to make if you use bigger scraps. But as you know, I'm trying to use up all the little scraps from my scrap paper tray. Oh no, this is going to annoy me gluing these on. A few people have commented on my patience gluing and sewing little scraps. Now, I think I have selective patience. So I have all the patience in the world if I'm gluing down tiny little scraps or sewing tiny little fabric scraps or paper scraps. Like I could sit here and make these all day. No problem, out of tiny little scraps. But something like, I know everyone's doing hand stitching. Oh, slow stitching. Why is everyone calling it slow stitching? Whatever happened to hand stitching? Anyway, I have all the patience in the world to glue down and sew tiny paper and fabric scraps. But I do not have patience to sit there and hand sew. And not just because I'm so blind. I just don't have the patience to sit there and sew. I need to see some immediate results, I think. And if I glue little scraps, I don't know, you see things getting made. Whereas hand sewing, I don't know, maybe people who are quick at it see results straight away. Maybe I'm too slow. But I do have a soft cover journal that some of you would have seen that I started ages ago, and I was using up tiny little brown and green neutral kind of colours of fabric, little tiny scraps. And I've just been hand sewing them to some scrap fabric, making a forest floor journal. Now, I started all gung-ho and sat there working on it, a lot. But then I got sick of it. It was taking too long, and now it's almost finished, but I just don't have the motivation to sit down and finish it. So, of course, it went on to the... oh my gosh, my glue is clogging up. So, of course, my forest floor journal got added to the unfinished journal shelf, which is, by the way, chock-a-block full. I must, after I finish the Woodwork Journal and the other journal that's sitting on my desk, when I finish those, I must work on some journals from my unfinished journal shelf. Even cutting up these little stamps out of that stamp catalogue page, that took forever. I don't have patience for cutting little things out. But if you ask me to sit there and sew all of these to a bunch of little scraps of fabric, oh, I could do that all day. Okay, my glue is drying so fast. We've had some really cool nights the past couple of nights, but some warmer days, which is weird because we had flooding last week in New South Wales or in Sydney. Okay, so I finished gluing all of those down. Now, I've still got a bunch of stamps left. Can you believe I made this many out of one sheet, and I still have so many left? One sheet from a stamp catalogue. In addition to these, there's some more here. This was another batch that I used with mostly bigger scraps out of the tray before I started filming. So I've got all of those. Oh, and there's a couple of little sideways ones which can go at the top of a page. Anyway, I will put some pictures for you at the end so you can see them closer up. But if you don't have a sewing machine, let me just show you. You really don't need to sew these, okay? Let me Let me show you. These are the sewn ones, and because I've used such a pale pink stitch, you can't see it all too much. Well, you can't. I'm blind, maybe you can. But I still think they add a little something when you sew them. I just love everything sewn. But you don't need to. So they're the sewn ones. These were a couple that I didn't sew. See, not much difference. Oops, am I too close? So if you don't have a sewing machine, don't worry. You can still make little cluster thingies. And there are a bunch that I didn't glue where the little scraps are loose, which I actually much prefer, and that's the usual way I would make something like this, with all the little scraps just loose. Like I said, I would pile the scraps. I'd clip them together, make a whole bunch, and then sew them all in one hit. But because these scraps were so small and thin, yeah, I glued them. It was just easier. Otherwise, all my little scraps would be up the center and they'd all be really thin. Anyway, that's it. I'll pop some pictures at the end, and because I made so many, I'll probably pop some in my Etsy shop if you're interested. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.